Hello, everybody, in Business 496, the honors program independent research study in the spring of 2017. This is a quick video to make sure that the expectations for the next learning module that centers around your literature review are clear. I won't click through everything here in the learning module. It's our fourth learning module. I'll let you on your own look at the overview and the objectives, and you should be already familiar with the requirements of the Undergraduate Research Expo that will be held in April. But if you haven't clicked through to their website recently, you will see some updates, including the various resources that they will be offering between now and the time of the expo on poster presentations. The abstracts will be due to the organizers of the expo, not to me, although I would like a copy of your abstract. They are due on April 5, 2016. A couple of things that I want you to be sure to look at. I recognize that sometimes people do not click through everything online, even for an independent study course that does not meet face to face, but it is absolutely crucial that you do so. First of all, I want to make sure that everybody has looked at this blog about what your professor is really telling you when he or she makes comments on what you write. This is a blog by an English professor, but it applies beyond that, and it clearly applies to me. Thesis needs work. You should be developing a literature review and, of course, your final paper that has an overall big picture that you will be explaining step by step. If I've told you that your sentences are awkward or have misspellings or need to be proofread, that is something that you need to take very seriously. If you cannot do it yourself, go find a friend. As this blog writer said, I cannot be your proofreader. Now, this says that you must be following a particular format. I am not a stickler for any particular format. It's great if you can follow a format. Just click through that on your own, and I think you'll find that that could be very valuable to you, both in understanding what I say and in writing in the first place. I have provided a great many resources for you to understand exactly what is a literature review. I think the simplest way for you to think about a literature review, at least at the start, is to look at this graphic that's found at one of these sites, the American University Library site. When you are starting a literature review, things are not necessarily connected, but by the time you are ready to write your literature review, things are connected. Each one should flow from one to the other. I do not want to see a literature review that is simply a collection of he said, and then he said, and then she said. That is not a literature review. They should logically flow one to the other. You can do it chronologically. You could do it by subject matter. But look at look at all of these resources. If you give me something that clearly does not follow the advice given in these resources, I will reject it and potentially disqualify you when you turn this in March from getting the honors designation on your diploma in April. So I really do expect that you will have read this in advance and won't wait for me to correct it after the fact. Do not hope for the best and ask for forgiveness. I won't give forgiveness. I expect you to look at all of these in advance. One is from the University of North Carolina, one is from Purdue, and as I said, one is from American University. For those of you who would prefer to watch a video as opposed to reading things, as easy as I think all of those web resources are to read, look at this. Here is a three-part video, and I think it's very well done. It's from the University of Maryland, and look at this slide that is highlighted here. I think this is a very important point. A literature review is not an essay. I am not asking you to simply give me a book report on a subject. This is a summary of scholarly literature. So I expect you actually to know what the scholarly literature is in your topic, and then to have read those and to have summarized those as described in all of these resources. So back to the learning module. Here are some frequently asked questions. Look at these. Make sure that you could answer these on your own. Am I going to have to read more articles than I actually summarize in my literature review? Yes. It is simply not possible that the first 10 articles that you read are going to be the exact 10 articles that you will actually summarize. You might read 40 articles, but you might read 30 of them only 4 paragraphs in to decide that they're not relevant, they're not worth it, they're not relevant to your topic. Go through each one of these and make sure you understand. Note that this will go through Turnitin, so you should not be cutting and pasting. You should be reading, putting it aside, not looking at it, summarize it in your own words, of course, in a very easy to read fashion. Back to the learning module. Here is the actual assignment. I will expect that you drop it into this text box. Note again the warning up here that not only if you do not submit it on or before the due date of March 13, 2017 at 11:59 p.m., or if it doesn't meet the requirements that have been specified, I will reserve the right to notify the registrar right then and there on March 14th, when I will probably be reading these, that you will not be able to graduate with, you will not be graduating with honors. So again, there's a couple other words of guidance here. Look at this last one. Stay in touch with your faculty advisor and be respectful of his or her time. I expect that you will have submitted this. I just sent an email to them that told them that you will submit this to them. You cannot submit it to them 24 hours before you have to submit it to me. You should review it with them before that so that they can give you guidance on what you have written. Also due on March 13th is a summary of your research methods, a survey, a study of a database, whatever it is going to be. And as always, when in doubt as to what is required in a particular module, the wrap-up section down here, Module 4 wrap-up, would always tell you what you have to do in order to satisfy the requirements of that module.